There's one conversation in Collateral that really shook me. Two men sit in a taxi, the city moves around them, and Vincent, a man of violence, says something that should really stop us cold. He says, "There is no reason. We live, we die. Millions of galaxies, of hundreds of millions of stars, in a speck on one in a blink. That's us, lost in space. The cop, you, me, who notices?" He says this after explaining why he killed a man named Fanning. Not out of rage, not revenge, not pleasure, just because. That line matters because Vincent isn't represented as being insane. He's calm, thoughtful, consistent. And that's what makes him frightening. Vincent believes the universe has no meaning, no God, no purpose, no final judgment. And if that's true, then his next conclusion follows naturally. If there is no God, why is evil actually wrong? Not emotionally disturbing, please note, not socially unacceptable, but morally wrong. Vincent doesn't deny suffering exists. He denies that suffering carries any weight beyond human reaction. In his world, morality is negotiated, not discovered. Right and wrong are preferences, not realities, and that's why he can kill without hatred. If life has no ultimate meaning, then death doesn't either. If there is no judge, then there is no crime, only outcomes. And if nothing stands before human opinion, then power quietly becomes the final authority. This is the conclusion Collateral forces us to face. Most people believe murder is wrong. Far fewer can explain why. Once God is removed, Max, the taxi driver, feels this tension. He really feels this severely. He insists killing is wrong, but he can't fully articulate why. Vincent counters him with logic, statistics, and indifference. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Vincent's worldview isn't compassionate, but it is consistent and coherent. Because without God, moral outrage becomes instinct, not truth. Without transcendence, evil becomes preference. And without accountability beyond death, restraint becomes fragile. That's why Vincent is dangerous. Not because he's chaotic, but because he's consistent. Now listen to Jesus in Matthew 5. He says, "You have it heard said, you shall not murder, but I tell you that anyone who is angry with his brother will be subject to judgment." And again, anyone who looks at another with lust has already committed adultery in his heart. At first, this sounds harsher than Vincent, more demanding, more invasive, but Jesus is doing something Vincent refuses to do. He's grounding morality inside reality itself, spiritual reality. Jesus assumes human beings possess inherent worth, not because society agrees, but because God gives it. That means evil isn't wrong because it disrupts order. It's wrong because it violates something sacred. Vincent says there's no reason. Jesus says people carry weight. Matthew 5 isn't about control. It's about depth. Jesus isn't lowering the bar for violence. He's revealing how early it begins. Violence starts when a person becomes disposable. Lust starts when a person becomes an object. Vincent can kill calmly because long before the trigger is pulled, the world has already been emptied of value. And here's the great accusation this film makes against modern culture. We want to call things evil, but we hesitate to say why. We want justice, but not judgment. We want dignity, but not transcendence. Vincent is what happens when that tension is lived out honestly. A man who doesn't hate, doesn't rage, doesn't justify himself. He just acts. Because nothing finally restrains him. So here's the question Collateral leaves us with. If Vincent is wrong, on what grounds is he wrong? If there is no God, who tells him he cannot decide who lives and who dies? Jesus' teaching only makes sense if human beings are more than matter in motion. If people are sacred, then intention matters. If people are sacred, then restraint matters. If people are sacred, then even hidden violence matters. That's a heavier burden than nihilism. But it's also the only one that makes evil truly evil and wrong. So maybe the most dangerous line in Collateral isn't spoken by a killer. Perhaps it's the one we're tempted to accept quietly, namely, there's just no reason. Because if that's true, then Vincent isn't a villain. He's just honest. Well, I would love to hear what you think. Please leave your comments below. Please like and subscribe if you want more of this content. Until next time.